Welcome to my TED Talk. So today I'm going to be talking about my high school experience, otherwise known as the worst 4 years of my life. So I'm making this video, one, to share my experience, just, you know, for laughs and tears maybe. And two, to perhaps, I don't know, educate you on, I don't really know, man. Maybe this is like what I learned in high school kind of stuff, but I just want to share my experience to enlighten you all. And yeah, it'll just be a good old, you know, good old trip down memory lane. Most of the memories from high school I've pushed into a part of my brain that I haven't accessed since I graduated, so this will be fun. So I graduated high school in 2016, class of 16. Okay, yeah, let's just start with freshman year. So like the summer going into freshman year, I had a boyfriend. Okay, I guess, do you count relationships like 8th grade freshman year? Do those count? I don't know. Do you count them? Let me know. Okay, anyways. Okay, so let me just give you a little background. I have always hated school. I've hated school since elementary school. I've hated school for middle school. I hated high school. I've never enjoyed school. So you can kind of expect how my high school experience was based on that information. It was not good. All throughout elementary school and middle school, I was always kind of like a straight arrow. I got really good grades. I never got in trouble. Like, I would freak out if I got in trouble. I always followed the rules. Even like, I just didn't like, it wasn't even that I cared about following the rules. It was like, I just didn't want my teachers to not like me. That was kind of like my main thing. I wanted to be liked so badly. So going into freshman year, I had a boyfriend and we were dating. We hung out like every day all summer, honestly. Like that's all we ever did. We would just hang out all the time. So going into freshman year, and he was like kind of like a skater boy. And then the summer going into freshman year was like the first time that I ever smoked weed, and I smoked weed with him. So that was like kind of like dipping my toes into that whole realm of things. And I was like, ooh, like, you know, that could also be like a whole other video. We should just do a video about, you know, that. That was like my first kind of like bad illegal experience sort of thing. So he was kind of in that whole crowd of like stoners and skaters and that whole thing going on. Like at high school, which I'm assuming most high schools have, like during lunchtime, the whole area, and our schools are outside because I live in California, so like our schools are like open. We're not like in one big building. So at lunchtime, everyone goes outside, and like every area is like designated to like who hangs out there. So my boyfriend hung out with there was like a wall. I forget what it was called. Was it called like the stoner wall or the skater wall or something? There was a wall where like all of the kids who were like skaters and stoners all hung out, and all of his friends sort of hung out in that area. So like me being the dedicated girlfriend I was, I would hang out there. And I had this idea, like going into high school, I was like, you know what? I'm done being like a straight arrow. I'm gonna be like a cool stoner chick. Like that was seriously like my mentality. But like that's like kind of what I wanted. I wanted like a change. Like I really did. I also had a really good friend who was kind of like a new best friend, and we were really close. We had a class together freshman year. That was really fun. And also freshman year, so I was taking I don't know, did we have honors freshman year? I don't know. I've always taken like honors AP classes. So during high school, I took all like the highest classes you could take. So I was taking like honors classes. Yeah, I was taking an AP class freshman year. Okay, so anyways, sorry, I'm just trying to reminisce. So I was taking AP classes. I was still like a really good student. I was just like kind of starting to hang out with like other people, I guess. But I wasn't really, like I was kind of like a wannabe, you know, like I was still too scared to like actually get too deep into all of that kind of stuff. So I was just really like a wannabe. So freshman year also this was the year that I played a sport every single season. So fall was, I guess, field hockey. Is fall field hockey? So for fall, I played field hockey. Winter, I played soccer, which was so random because like I hadn't played soccer since I was like 6 years old, and I was so bad at it. But I was so bad at soccer. It was so embarrassing, and it was just like I sat on the bench the whole time. It was a joke for me, honestly. I don't even know why I did it. That was weird. I had like no friends on the team. Like everyone was like, they were like all friends, and then there was kind of just like me. So that was fun. And then spring, I played track. Or I was on track and field. I did long jump, and I was actually on varsity long jump my freshman year. So fun fact about me, I can jump really far for a white girl, I guess. Anyways, so yeah, I did sprints and long jump. So yeah, freshman year was weird. I broke up with my boyfriend like on Thanksgiving, so pretty early into the year. I don't know why, I just remember it was on Thanksgiving. Or was it my birthday? I don't know, they're always really close together. So anyways, after that, I became really close with like kind of the field hockey girls because I was on a team with them. So I was like good friends with them, and then I still had friends from middle school that I was friends with, so I kind of had like a variety of friends. But I also remember just being like really depressed freshman year. Like I had friends, but I didn't have like a group, and all the friends that I did have were like closer with other people. So I just remember being at lunch and feeling like so anxious and so scared and like on the verge of tears. I would cry at lunch a couple of times. Like I remember I did. And I would call my mom and like I would ask her to come get me. And she was like really worried about me. She would pick me up and she would like take me home because like I was like literally on the verge of tears. I was like, I can't be here anymore. Like, I don't know. It was just like, I just remember feeling like so depressed and so alone at school. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it. It's hard for me to remember too because it was like kind of a long time ago. Yeah, I just remember freshman year kind of sucked in a lot of ways, and yeah, I just didn't really have like a close friend. And then also like my really good friend at the time, she started becoming friends with like more popular girls and like older girls, and I just remember I went to the varsity water polo game because one of my friends was on the team, and it was like the championship because our water polo team was really good, and they always either won the championship or they were in like the championship game. So I went to the championship game, and I went with my friend to watch it. And I saw like basically my best friend, like we were best friends. I saw her like sitting there, and she was sitting with like this group of girls who was like this really popular group of girls from our school. She came, they like sat in front of me, and they were like kind of just all talking, and she just kind of ignored me. Like I said hi to her, and I just remember her kind of like looking at me and like almost pretending like she didn't know me. And like they were having this conversation. I could tell they were like kind of gossiping. I tried to like kind of lean in and listen and like ask questions, be like join the conversation, like, you know, I like really like wanted to be friends with them, and I was friends with this girl. I just remember they would like look at me, and yeah, it was really sad. I felt lonely and it was depressing. I think I might have gone home and cried that night. That's life, I guess. So that was freshman year. Towards the end of freshman year, there's this other guy who was on the water polo team, and we like started liking each other, I guess. So freshman year ended, and we started talking like all throughout summer, and then basically we started dating like right before sophomore year started. So, and this is like my first relationship that I actually really count as a relationship, because I mean we dated for like 2 years. It's actually the longest relationship I've ever had, to be honest. We started dating the beginning of sophomore year, or my sophomore year. He was a junior at the time, so he was a year older than me. We were dating, and that sophomore year like we would hang out a lot. So the girl who like was ignoring me, who was like my really good friend freshman year, she was just, there was a lot of issues with that. That's like a whole like other weird psychological friendship like manipulative thing that I can make another video about, because that's a totally like other story. But yeah, I basically cut our friendship off because I was like not taking it anymore. It was just like not a healthy relationship, and it was just really like damaging my mind a lot. So I pretty much just stopped talking to her. Yeah, I started dating my boyfriend at the time, so we were dating, and like that's pretty much who I would hang out with all the time. Like at lunch and stuff, I would hang out with him, and then my other friend who was like my best friend since like 3rd grade. I actually kind of like ignored her a lot, which was pretty mean. Like I had this boyfriend and I was like, oh, he's like a cool water polo player, and I kind of ignored her. So honestly, that was pretty mean of me to do, and I admit that, and I feel bad about that. But high school is like such a weird place. I don't know, man. I feel like it's like a zoo. High school's a zoo. It's also a joke. Okay, so sophomore year is when I really started like going to parties. None of my other friends were like really into that. Most of my friends, since I was dating a guy who was a year older than me, I was kind of like with his group. So all of his friends were a grade older than me, and they were all going to parties. So I would go to those parties with them, and like all the people at those parties there would maybe be like 1 or 2 other sophomores, but majority of it was juniors and seniors. And it was usually at like a senior's house. So I would go to these parties as a sophomore, and yeah, I mean, I went to like quite a few, I remember, and obviously like I had my first experience getting drunk, and then I actually was smoking. I started smoking weed quite a bit sophomore year. Yeah, it was definitely sophomore year I started smoking. I think freshman year too. Freshman, sophomore year, I would like smoke, not like a lot. I would never consider myself a stoner compared to a lot of the kids at my school, but yeah, I started smoking weed a lot, and then I started going to parties and drinking. So I went to quite a few parties and had that experience. So that was interesting. So I got into that whole scene. And then also around this time, so sophomore year is when I turned 16, so I got my license right away. Lost my virginity sophomore year as well. I went vegan also. This all was honestly around the same time. Like I literally turned 16, lost my virginity, went vegan, and started my YouTube channel, like literally all within like a couple months. So a lot of things happened sophomore year. Once I went vegan, I was like really into eating healthy because I started following like the raw vegan, raw till 4, and you can go back on my channel and watch the beginning beginning of my channel, because that is when I started my YouTube channel, was when I went vegan, because that's like why I gained an interest in veganism and like all this healthy stuff, was because I started watching vegan YouTube channels. So I decided to start my own. So that's like how my channel started. So I actually started making YouTube videos when I was 16 and I was still in high school. And I didn't really tell anyone about it. I also made like a food Instagram account that I had, and people at my school did find out about it, just like friends and stuff. And everyone thought it was cool. I mean, they would follow me and ask me about it sometimes, but it was never like a big thing. And then another thing that happened, which I made a video about it a long time ago, but I think I've taken it down. So this was like kind of like a life-changing experience, I guess, but I decided when I was 16 to drop acid, LSD. That is another video. I need to remake a story time because I need to tell that story again. That was just insane, and it's a good story. There's a good lesson in it. But I decided to drop acid, and after that experience, I completely stopped smoking weed, and I stopped drinking, and I didn't actually stop going to parties. I would go to parties, but I would bring kombucha instead. That was me like sophomore year, just going to these high school parties and drinking kombucha, like designated driver. Love that. But yeah, I was like really into eating healthy and just like exercising a lot, and I was still dating my boyfriend, and like I said, I would still go to parties. But after I dropped acid, I stopped drinking and stopped smoking weed and stopped doing everything. And I was just like health freak. Like I was working on my YouTube videos, I was focusing on school, I was hanging out with my boyfriend. So moving on to junior year, I was still dating my boyfriend. So I basically dated my boyfriend sophomore and junior year. So junior year was good. I remember I did really well in school again, but I started taking IB classes. So we had like International Baccalaureate at my school, and that was horrible. I completely regret taking those classes, to be honest, because I didn't learn like a single thing. But you know, whatever, you can't take it back and it's okay. I probably learned a little bit. I learned I don't like IB classes. I guess I was still going to parties. Was I? Like, I honestly can't remember if I was even going to parties or not, because I just remember like I was still really, junior year was when I was like really healthy. Like, yeah, I was like eating super healthily. I would literally bring jars, like smoothies of like this big, and jars of juices to school. I had my first period class, and I would drink like 1.5 liters of water in the morning. Then I would have like a smoothie or a juice this big for breakfast. And then I would bring another juice or smoothie this big to class for lunch. In my first period class, I would get up, and this was like, I'm not even lying, I would get up 4 times every single day in my first period class to pee. And the bathroom was like right across from our classroom. But like there was just this class joke. Like my teacher would literally say like, oh, she's going to do cocaine in the bathroom again. Like, why would you say that? But it was pretty funny. They would all joke about it. Like literally every time I would get up to like go to the bathroom, everyone would just be like, oh my God, there she goes again. Like they would all just like snicker. I was like, whatever. I didn't care. I thought it was funny too. Anywho, that's when I started running every day. So yeah, I was making videos then. Junior year was okay, I think. From what I can recall, it was all right. It was pretty good. So moving on to senior year. So my boyfriend, when I was a senior, my boyfriend was graduated. So he graduated a year before me in 2015, and he was going to school in a different state. So he was going to go out of state to college. And so basically what that meant for us was we were like not going to try long distance, because we were like, I'm in high school, like we're not really going to get married. So I mean, I know a lot of people do that, like high school sweethearts and stuff get married, but I think we like, you know, we just decided like it's not really gonna work. So he went to college like September. So we dated like the whole summer and stuff, and then he went off to college like September. So that was like the beginning of my senior year, pretty much. I didn't have my boyfriend anymore, and I had like one friend. So that was fun. I didn't do a field hockey either. So I did field hockey and track and field in junior year, and then my senior year I decided that I did not want to do any sports that year. I was taking all AP and IB classes. I was also gonna like try to get a job, and I was just like really focused on school. So yeah, I decided I didn't want to do sports. Also, I just didn't really like them. I was pretty good at them, but my heart like wasn't into it, and yeah, it just like wasn't really for me, you know? So I just decided I didn't want to do sports anymore. And my senior year is when I started riding my bike to school. So a lot of you probably might have started watching my channel around that time. No, I'm just gonna start riding my bike to school because I want to get exercise. I feel like that's cool, and it's like saving the environment. So I started riding my bike to school, and I was still doing like, I would bring like half a watermelon to class, just like a full watermelon, and eat it with a spoon in my class. I would bring jars of smoothies and juices, and this is when I was like going crazy with my exercise. I would literally wake up, go for a run because I didn't have a first period class, come home, have my smoothie or have my juice, then ride my bike all the way to school. And then I would have like an after school class once a week. So sometimes I would do that, and then I would ride all the way back home. No, instead of riding all the way back home, I'd ride all the way past my house to the gym, go work out at the gym, and then ride my bike home. So I was actually insane. It was just like not okay. I didn't do that for that long because it was definitely not sustainable, especially considering all the homework that I had to do. But it's basically safe to say that I had zero social life my senior year. And my like best friend, she was in ASB and I was like the epitome of the opposite of ASB. Like I hated school. I was not school spirited. I would have to be like dragged to a football game if somebody wanted me to go to one, or like to any of the school events. It would have to be, I'd have to be bribed to go because I was so over it at that point. I just could not deal with it. So senior year was a very lonely year for me. It was probably like the worst year, I would say, because I hated it. I hated the schoolwork. I was taking AP IB classes, so everyone in my classes were like honors kids and stuff, and I wasn't friends with any of them. All of my friends were in like the regular classes. So I just felt really out of place. Like I couldn't really relate to anyone in any of my classes. It wasn't very fun because everyone was just so serious, you know, into the work and into the like learning. It wasn't really that fun. So, oh wait, actually that's a lie. I had a friend in one of my classes, so that was fun. But anyways, yeah, so I didn't do any sports, so I wasn't really like friends with any of the girls from the field hockey team anymore because I wasn't on their team. But I did actually like have a really close, really small group of friends for like a brief amount of time. So I became friends with this girl. She was in my art class and we became good friends. And then another friend of both of ours, so he's been my friend since 6th grade. So I've known him since middle school and we've been like really good friends for a long time. Anyways, he's the one who, when I went traveling to New Zealand, he picked me up from the airport. So he's like a traveler. Anyways, me, him, and then this girl from my art class, we all became like really good friends sort of like around that winter, because I remember we like hung out on New Year's and stuff together. Then they were very much like not into high school, and like they just didn't really care about grades or like schoolwork, which is fine. Like that's just, it wasn't for them. It was just like high school wasn't for them. High school was not for me either, but I was just good at it. Like I was good at working the system. Like it doesn't have anything to do with intelligence. It just has to do with like how you work, or like, you know, some people just like school's just not for them. And for me, like school's not for me, but I just like, I was good at it anyways, you know? I didn't like it, but I was good at it. My friends, like they weren't in any of those classes and they were just like really into like smoking weed at that time and just sort of drinking. And so I kind of like fell out with them a little bit because I was obviously really busy with schoolwork, and like I hadn't smoked weed since literally sophomore year. And so like I just didn't really want to do that anymore. I was just like not into it. And like I was really into my health stuff and YouTube and stuff like that. So it was kind of hard to be friends with them because we were just kind of on different pages with things. And like I always felt really left out though, because they had this big group of friends. And they all kind of like would just hang out and smoke weed. And I would hang out with them a couple times, but I just felt really left out. Like no shade, like I don't hate anyone from high school. Like I honestly don't care. Like high school is so long ago and I could care less. I'm just sharing my experience because I think it's interesting. I don't know, whatever. It was a horrible 4 years of my life, but I hated every second of it. Anyways, the beginning of the new year, which was 2016, like the second half of the senior year semester, whatever. First of all, I got a job. So I started working at Veggie Grill, which is a vegan restaurant chain. That was my first job. So I started working, and then I also met a guy on Tinder who became my boyfriend. He was a vegan and he was 21 at the time and I was 18. So he was like, I made videos with him. You guys probably have seen those if you followed me for a long time. So we started dating and I was just like really into like my vegan thing, and like that relationship was just kind of like a mess. If you want me to make a video on that, I can definitely do that, because it was like there was a lot of learning experiences involved in that relationship. It was just a very stressful, overwhelming, unhealthy relationship, and it was not a good idea to get in a relationship when I was literally going towards the end of my senior year, when we had all of these tests going on, like so many classes I was taking. I was so busy with school. Just wasn't a good time for me. So I ended that, and then basically the rest of my senior year I just spent really lonely. I went to prom with like 3 people and I wasn't even like close with these people. I just literally had no one else to go with. I don't even know why I bothered going to prom. I guess I just felt like I had to. But yeah, I just remembered feeling really sad, and I was like, our graduation day was the greatest day of my life, honestly. Like knowing that I no longer had to go to school was the most liberating feeling in the entire world. But basically, if there's anything you're gonna take from this sharing of my high school experience, I think it should just be that when you look back on it, you do want to look back on it fondly, because I am kind of sad that I don't have like good memories from high school. Like they're all kind of just sad and tainted with this like horrible I don't know, just like I didn't have a good time. And a lot of it had to do with my attitude. A lot of it had to do with the people that I was with. I guess I just kind of surrounded myself with people who weren't really like true friends. High school is such a strange experience because there's so much going on in that time of your life that it's like so overwhelming. There's relationships, there's friendships, there's school, there's like the future you're planning for, and it's like so confusing. But if there's anything for this, I would say like, because I do, as much as I don't like to live with regret, I feel like if I could experience my high school over again, I would do it so differently. I would honestly just not care what people thought about me at all. Like I always told myself I didn't care, which in a lot of ways I didn't, because I feel like if I did care, I probably wouldn't take like half of a watermelon to school or ride my bike to school, which a lot of people probably thought was super weird. Like I didn't care about that. I was myself, but at the same time, I feel like deep down I did still really care about what people thought of me, and I did still like wish I had more friends and stuff. So I would say like the biggest thing you can take out of this is just, I don't know, like live your truth. Is that like a weird thing to say or like too cliche or it doesn't make any sense? Just like live your truth. Don't get so caught up in like what everybody else is doing. Yeah, I get like high school is like in preparation for college, but at the same time, there's so many other classes I could have taken that actually would have benefited me that I didn't take because I was like so focused on this IB AP thing. And like, look at me now, I'm not even going to college. So none of it even like counts for anything or paid off in any way other than it just made my 4 years even worse. Sorry, this video is kind of depressing, but I just kind of wanted to share my experience. I thought maybe you guys would think it's interesting, just to give you a little background on my life, I guess. I hope that's the last time I ever have to talk about high school again, because honestly, I'm over it. I never want to talk about it again. I never want to think about it again. I just want to shove all the memories into a little box and pretend that it never happened. Let me know down below what other videos you want. If you want to see me make like more high school videos or like go into further depth about like my weird manipulative psychological friendship that I had that was like really unhealthy and kind of how I got out of that, I can make a video about that. If you want me to talk about like my unhealthy relationship as well, I can talk about that. Or I don't know, like my first time smoking weed or my first time getting drunk or like things like that. Let me know if you actually want to see those videos, because I've always kind of considered making them, but I've just like never known if anyone actually wants to see those or not. So let me know. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.